In 1791, when James Madison drafted the Bill of Rights, he had something specific in mind. The first 10 amendments weren't abstract philosophy. They were responses to real abuses colonists had suffered. The Fifth Amendment sits alongside protections for speech, assembly, and religion, but it tackles a different question. What happens when the government has power over you in the criminal system? The Fifth Amendment actually contains 5 distinct protections, and understanding them requires seeing how they work as a unified shield against arbitrary authority. The first protection requires the government to present evidence to a grand jury before charging someone with a serious federal crime. This grand jury is composed of ordinary citizens who listen to the government's case and decide whether probable cause actually exists. It's a buffer, an independent check between an accusation and prosecution. The second protection is perhaps the most famous, the right against self-incrimination. You cannot be forced to testify against yourself in court. This might sound like it protects guilty people, but it's actually about burden of proof. It says the government must gather its own evidence rather than compelling a defendant to build the case against themselves. This is where pleading the Fifth originates. Third comes due process. The Fifth Amendment guarantees that the federal government cannot deprive someone of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Due process means following established legal procedures, not taking arbitrary action based on a whim or prejudice. Fourth is the protection against double jeopardy. Once you've been acquitted of a crime, the government cannot try you again for that same offense in the same jurisdiction. This prevents the state from using unlimited retrials to wear down a defendant until they lose. The fifth protection is the takings clause. The government can take private property, but only for public use and only with just compensation. A homeowner cannot simply lose their house to make way for a road project without being paid for it. These protections emerged from English legal tradition and the hard experience of colonial America. Colonists had faced arbitrary searches, forced confessions, and unlimited prosecution. The Fifth Amendment codified principles they had fought for. What unites all 5 protections is a single principle: limiting government power in criminal proceedings. They require the government to follow rules, gather evidence fairly, and respect individual rights. They don't guarantee innocence, they guarantee a fair process. This reflects a fundamental choice embedded in American criminal justice. The government bears the burden of proof. Citizens aren't required to help the government build a case against them. These protections, written over 2 centuries ago, still shape how American courts operate today.